so Ash, the business case for gender equity at PERSOLKELly is a bit different for us in that we're 69% female and 31% male. So we actually have to probably shift the balance the other way to get a more even 50-50 male-female split. I think that's important because one, we represent the candidate market in Australia, we represent our client base in Australia, and I think to represent properly you need an even balance of male and female. It's quite as simple as that really. And that goes for, at a senior leadership level, and that's why at a senior leadership level we're currently about 50-50 in our senior leadership team, and I think that's really important if you're representing a business and a population that is 50-50 roughly. In terms of the case for us, we engage with so many employers that have got challenges with gender equity, and so they're typically a lot of companies in the mining industry, for example, or it might be manufacturing, transport and logistics, where it tends to be a little bit more male dominant. And then probably it's a little bit rarer, but to have our situation where it's more female dominant. But so we work with a lot of customers in terms of how we support their talent and their future pipelining and helping improve that mix. So I think it's just really important that we have a good representation across our business. But bringing it back, I think the first thing that I did as a leader was to invest in my own education. What that's enabled us to do is just have better conversation with our senior leadership team and all of our staff and our HR team around what else we can do to improve gender equity. There are a number of things, and so the first one is we have an open door policy, and it's a policy which enables not only our direct staff members but our employees that we on hire to different organisations, and we have thousands of them, to be able to report anonymously anything that is unsafe or unreasonable or concerning that they can raise to our business. And so I think the open door policy is a really good initiative, and I think the open door policy is not only a great initiative for our staff members, but the fact that it goes to our wider employee base. So that's employees that are out working at our customer sites that maybe aren't under our direct supervision, but enables us to really work with our customers to help them improve all things related to having a safe and comfortable workplace. Number two, one of the initiatives that we've impacted across our organisation is contact officers. So contact officers with us have been dispersed across the organisation through a selection process, a nomination, an application selection process, where there's contact officers within our business that familiar faces, well established in our business, that anyone can talk to about any concern they have within our workplace. And so I think that's been a really good initiative. Number three initiative that we've implemented is really some really small things that we've implemented that have made a big difference, and that's as simple as keeping in touch with those that are on parental leave throughout their time away from the business. We used to probably overlook that, thinking that if someone's on parental leave, they don't want to hear from their employer, they want to be left alone. And until we got that feedback, we didn't realise that people wanted to be kept in touch with what's happening in the workplace, who's being promoted, possible opportunities to keep upskilling on their own accord. And so we now allow anyone who's on parental leave to choose what communication and access they have when they're away. And I think, whilst that's only a small thing, items such as that, also making sure those that are on parental leave are getting their annual salary reviews, and all those types of things, even though they're small, I think it's made a big impact to our culture. Yeah, so in terms of what's had the least impact when it comes to gender equity within PERSOLKELly and our wider organisation, I actually can't think of one thing that we've done that's had an impact that I would sort of refer to as the least impact or a relevant impact, because any small change we've made has been positive, and at the very least it's something that we've learned from. And so yeah, I think a lot of what we've actually done has had small amounts of impact, but the way I see that is the small change you make, the bigger, and the number of small changes you make, then the bigger the overall result. I think what's changed most in the last year is our relationship with the CEOs for Gender Equity. And again, I'm not just saying that because this is a CEOs for Gender Equity interview. It's the fact that by joining, what it's done for myself and also some of our wider team is to become better connected with peers that are in similar roles, running similar sized companies in a variety of industries. It's building relationships, getting to share their challenges, their opportunities, their best practice, some of the things that they've done that maybe haven't worked. And I think by just openly having that dialogue and the sharing and the education, it's probably been the most impactful thing that we've done over the last 12 months or so. What that's also enabled us to do is bring back ideas and discussion to our executive team and also our senior leadership team. And so, I think that involvement with CEOs for Gender Equity is probably what's made the biggest difference to us. The personal learnings is just the life and work. For example, I've now got 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, and so we're outnumbered in our household. And we had some real challenges during our own pregnancies with miscarriages and some real challenging situations there. And so I think just going through life and work, you end up getting better educated, more empathetic and more understanding. And so I think that's something that is really difficult because it's hard to educate a young manager on life experiences that they haven't had yet or may not have experienced. And so I probably, with the value of hindsight, have some regrets and wish I knew more then than as much as I do now. Another personal learning for me is leading by example. So example for me is around taking my kids to school when I get the opportunity, going to a sports carnival, making sure I'm there for those really key, important milestones. And, again, as a younger manager, I probably didn't have that perspective in terms of the way I should lead. It was all about being first in the office and last to leave and, working harder and longer than anyone else. And that example actually is a terrible example to set for so many in the workplace who feel that they need to do that to replicate or get somewhere in their career. And it's just simply not the case with us. So the other part of my personal journey, which has made a big impact to gender equity within our workplace, is probably stems back from my childhood. So I didn't realise this until probably I joined the CEOs for Gender Equity and started to become more aware. But I grew up with a happy family, parents divorced when I was a young boy at 12. From the age of 12, I lived with my mother and my sister. And so my mother was a single mum, worked full time and managed 2 children. And when I think back about how challenging that was with school drop-offs and pickups and sport and sickness, we probably just got sent to school back then if we were sick, is something that I really reflect on now when we're treating our people the way that you'd want your mother or your wife or your sister treated if they were in a similar situation with an employer, hopefully like us. So that's part of my personal journey, is sort of having moments in time where you actually reflect on your life and your family and friends and some of the situations they've been in, and you just wish that you could be an employer that they would love to work for.